It's a pleasure to welcome Dan Hurley back to the program. UConn emphatic 72-40 over St. John's. And because I'm a wise ass, Dan, when you sat down, I said, so last week the defense was a joke and it was dreadful. How was the defense tonight? How would you describe it?
It was exhilarating and joyful to watch. I don't know, what's the opposite of dreadful?
Well,
Undreadful? I mean,
20%, man. They shot 20%. They missed their last 24. I get they had a rough night, but what did your guys do so well tonight on that end of the floor?
I just think for us, like we went through this bad stretch. I mean, people talk about like offensively losing, going through a bad stretch where you have, cold shooting, but you also go through, bad stretches with your defense where you're just not as committed. You get away from your identity. You don't make the efforts, you don't take the scouting into the game. And I think for us, just in terms of personnel, we got a guy named Taris Reed on this team
Of
who
course.
started his career at Michigan. And when this guy shows up the way he showed up for us tonight, and the game at Nova, huge win for us on the road. We're up 20 in the second half. I mean, he played as good as any center in the country. Defensively on the backboard, offensively 6 blocks. If we get this version of him the rest of the way, we've got a chance, to win some championships here.
Yeah, about that. You clearly know what it looks like, a team that's capable of winning 6 in a row. And I wonder this, Dan. A loss like you had against Creighton in mid-February, maybe it's not the worst thing because it gives you an opportunity to look your guys in the eyes and say, fellas, that ain't it. We're not winning 6 like this. You know what I mean? And you get a chance to reset then, not in the middle of March when it would be the end of the year. Does that sound right?
Yeah, I mean, Scott, with college basketball, like it's so different than the NBA, where like literally every regular season game is a life or death proposition because it affects everything. It affects your pursuit of a regular season conference, championship. You're playing for seeding in the NCAA tournament every single night. So I think just the message after Creighton was like we worked so hard. We've been together since June. We've been pushing for it. We play and coach at UConn. We don't ever want to feel like when a game's over again that we let each other down with our performance, with our effort, with our pursuit of victory and our pursuit of championships. And to be able to walk out of a game and not have a regret about how you showed up for your team, your teammates, and UConn basketball.
You know how much I love the college game. I always have. A lot's different these days. But what I love about your league, Dan, is that it's the true round robin. And you guys played a great one in the Garden on a Friday night, and they got you. But you're like, cool, we'll see in our joint in late February. And I love that about your league. How much do you enjoy what that part of your league is?
Yeah, I mean, the round robin, the facing each other twice. Just how grueling that is to play 20 conference games at basketball schools in raucous environments, like MSG now with the way it is at, for a St. John's home game. I mean, you're walking into the octagon there, and you get this a lot. You get this a lot in our league. Like I walked through the handshake line today with the St. John's guys, and Zuby Ejiofor was glaring at me as he was bleeding from his mouth. And he muttered something like, I'll see you again, my man. And then when I got to Darling was like, yeah, coach, I will see you in New York in a couple of weeks. So the thing about our league is it's a war, it's a battle. There's rivalries, there's coaches that don't like each other, there's teams that don't like each other. And I think sports are better when there's tension and intensity and ill will.
We agree. We're both smiling at that same idea because I get what you mean. Look, real rivalry only exists if I've taken something from you that matters and vice versa. And that's what happens in your league quite a bit. I want to close with a thought because Saturday afternoon, you say goodbye to some seniors. And you mentioned Reed, who's been there for a bit. And Alex Caravan, you got a guy that could have left, man. Could have left right after you guys won a title, right? You go right to the league and capitalize on that one specific skill that works real well when you can make buckets, right? But he stays.
Mhm.
And I'm interested, Dan, in what you get from those relationships that are so rare these days with someone that you're with for this many years and play this many important games.
Yeah, I mean, he just becomes, and I don't want to. I'm not trying to adopt him from Alexi and Olga, caravan, but he becomes like a son for you. You know, he's a son. The amount of battles and the amount of work you've put in together, the successes, the failure, the roller coaster ride, the times on buses and airplanes and in hotels. This guy could have left in 23 and been a
Yep.
late first round pick. He could have left in 24 after his second championship and been a late first round pick. But the guy loves UConn, and he's one of the biggest winners in college sports in recent memory. He's got a chance to be the most decorated college basketball player in terms of his winning. When all is said and done, if he could just get a couple more trophies, maybe get to a Final Four, he's got a chance to have a resume in terms of winning that stacks up to those UCLA teams back in the 70s. So, the fan reaction to him on Saturday. Should be the most emotion. I mean, I just hope the team could function, because the amount of crying that's going to go on in the pregame, I'm going to be sobbing like a big baby.
Yeah, but that's in you, and that's that I admire and I appreciate that lane that you have, and I love to see that on Saturday, and I know we will. I appreciate you spending some time tonight, particularly when I'm sure you have to go probably dig your car out of some snowbank up there, because I know it snowed again in my former home state. So get home safe, man. I appreciate you. All right.
That's what I said to Patino before the game. I said, you really want to coach in this weather? And he laughed, but
Get home safe, Dan. We'll talk again. All right.
later.